going on, guys? We're working on our 2007 6.7 Dodge Ram with the Cummins engine, and I noticed I was starting to get a lot of oil running out here on the front here and back towards the back, and apparently there's a seal that's gone bad called a rocker box seal. This is the seal here. Basically it just goes all the way around this rocker box and keeps the oil from leaking out. Now if you replace yours, you want to make sure that there's a raised edge that goes up, and then there's like an indented edge that goes down. So when you reinstall this, make sure that you put it the correct direction or it will leak again. I'll show you what I'm talking about here. Hold your camera. So this side here is the little trenched edge, and this side you can see how it's raised. But just make sure you get it in the right way or else it will leak again. Alright, so now I got the new seal installed in this rocker box. So we'll go ahead and reverse the process of putting it back on. Now these rocker box bolts here torque to 18 foot-pounds, and the injector wires on the harness are going to torque to 13 inch-pounds. Turn it off. My torque wrench to 18 pounds. What? Say that again. I set my torque wrench to 18 foot-pounds. Just want to go ahead and snug. Okay. Alright, so now we're going to put the injector wire harness back on. And one thing you want to note when you're taking this off is take good pictures of where these injector wires are hooked up, because if you get one crossed, it probably isn't good. Okay, so on this first one, it's going to be green on the outside and blue on the inside. And then the next one is going to be brown on the outside and red on the inside. And the next one is going to be brown on the outside, yellow on the inside. And the next one is green outside, blue inside. And then the next one is brown outside again, red inside. last one. It's brown outside, yellow inside. Now this is how the colors were on my truck specifically when I removed this. Now I don't know if they're all the same because I've never done this before, but if they're not, just make sure you take a good picture of what colors you have that go where. And now we're going to torque these down to 13 inch-pounds. They weren't super tight. They're just basically a hair over hair tight, so don't tighten them down too much. I'm sure they will break off. And another thing you don't have to worry about is when you remove this, is these nuts are actually secured in these electrical tabs so they won't fall out on you. This rocker box seal was like $21 and some change from Cummins, and I took it in there and had them quote me what they were going to charge me to replace this. And they told me it's going to be a little over $900. I'm no certified diesel technician, but I'm pretty mechanical, and I watched a few videos on how to get this electrical wiring harness off. There's not a whole lot of them on YouTube that I found actually getting the rocker box itself off and replacing the seal, but I got a Cummins quick serve account, and if you have an account, you can kind of get on there and look at the schematics of how this is set up, so then you can kind of see what you have to remove. But I didn't do a video taking it off because I didn't know how it was going to go, but it was actually pretty easy. So I'm going to make a little video here on the reverse process of putting it back on, so you can kind of see what all's involved in getting it off.
One thing we did to kind of cheat a little bit here is we backed another Dodge 2500 up, which is much more comfortable with some old bath mats than it is working off the ladder.
Well, I don't know if these torque specs are actually like 100% right. I asked Cummins what they recommended when I was there. They told me just get online and look at a forum, so that's where I got this torque spec from. Got the injector screws tightened down. Alright, we got the injector nuts here tightened down, and now we're going to put the valve cover on. Now when I went into Cummins to get this rocker box seal, I know there was some debate about whether you could reuse this injector wire harness, and they told me as long as I cleaned it off around the mating edges, it was reusable. So I just cleaned it off and put a little light coat of oil back on this rubber seal, and then I made sure I cleaned this valve cover mating surface back off too, so if it leaks, then I'll just pull it back off and replace it. Alright, so I skipped ahead a little bit on putting this back together, but basically, if anybody's ever serviced their own truck, you know that there's a closed crankcase vent filter underneath this cover. So there's, remove these, there's 8 or 9, these 8mm screws, and pop this hose clamp off, and slide that hose off, and lift this cover off here, and then there's the filter, the closed crankcase vent filter underneath this cover, and you pop it out, and then there's 4 more of these actual valve cover bolts, and they're 10 millimeter. So there's 2 there, and there's about like 2 here, and then 2 here, and there's 2 more of these little 8 millimeter screws underneath this cap. And once you get all them done, you come over here, and I'm not really sure what these actual lines here are actually for, but maybe some type of vent line, but basically they just slide off, and then pull off this connector here. Your valve cover should lift off and come right out. Also, be careful when you're taking these 2 injector plugs out. There's a little tab in the bottom. You can just take a flathead screwdriver and press that tab in, and then just kind of grab a hold of it here and just wiggle it out. It came out okay. So, if you have any other questions on how I did this, feel free to comment. Thanks for watching.